Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and our annual spring sales event is now underway. We have absolutely huge savings right now at Cobble. New Sierras and new Silverados have a double whammy. Choose from APR starting at 1.9% or discounts over $9,000. Yes, that's right, 1.9% APR or discounts of over $9,000. So please take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street just south of the interstate, or check us out online at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hey, he looked as advertised. He looked really good in the spring game. And because of that, we're going back to a bowl game this year, is what Husker fans are telling them. So I think the fans have a more realistic perspective, and I think this coaching staff has done a really good job of handling Dylan Raiola and the expectations around him.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Pass the sticks to the Nebraska eSports Squad as they take you on a journey through the wonderful world of video games. Right here on Big Red ESports on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. We're back. It's been a little while since I've been on the mic, and this is actually my first time in this entire area.
Yeah.
I've not been back or even on the show since football season, before it. Because football season came in, and we stopped the show for a while.
Yeah.
And I was in the depths of my season when I finally had, when it wasn't football season anymore. So finally in this great place. This is really nice area.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it. This is so much larger too. And so
less dungeon-y.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. But I am Jaden Schilke. I am the new treasurer, the game manager for Call of Duty, and one of the players, a shoutcaster. There's a lot of titles that I have within the Nebraska Esports Club. But this is Big Red Esports. There's no squad today, just me. A little bit of a solo mission, but we're here and we're going to talk about some esports. I've got a couple updates, and then we can kind of just bounce off each other for esports, questions from the text line, that kind of thing.
402-464-5685. Hit us with any of your questions. But you and I were talking off air. You're kind of used to the solo dolo gang, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. For the past couple of years, I've been a solo caster for Call of Duty. And with the tournaments those happen, those are day-long tournaments. So I'll stream, do all the camera work, all the audio fixes, anything for 8+ hours for those tournaments. And then nice days are when I have to just record for film where I don't have to say anything. I just get to sit there and coach them a little bit. I go, all right, guys, well, this is what I saw, while we were playing. But yeah, it's a lot trying to do it all together. So when knowing kind of the pain a little bit, I don't know the switcher like that, but the solo stuff is kind of more my role right now.
Switcher's not that bad, right? It looks super intimidating. Like, it's a big board. There's a lot going on. You hit two buttons.
Really?
You kind of got to know the rest of the buttons to some degree, but it's really get it right once. Nobody touch it. You're fine.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I get what you mean. It's like all the right settings are right there.
Yeah.
And then you're good. Plug and play.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
How did you get into casting?
Well, so in high school, I did the commentating for the Kearney High volleyball team.
Mm.
So I was part of the media pro out in Kearney
Okay.
High. And so I did a lot of work out there for my senior year. And that was actually where I was able to kind of pick up the beginnings of that. I put it away when I got to college because I didn't know this club was a thing when I got here. And so when I eventually joined and there was nobody doing any casting, I was like, well, I know a little bit and I know a little bit about the game. So I'll stream it and I'll cast and at least give it some energy, give it some publicity. And that led to the next 2 years where I've played and casted and done all this other stuff. And now I'm a treasurer too. So there's a lot going on. And yeah.
Are you one of those pros that can just walk in and start talking and be good? Or do you have like a prep process when you're casting or streaming for that matter?
Yeah, I kind of just walk in and can do it. It's a little rough if it's a game with no real info whatsoever. But if so yesterday we had a tournament in class for a game called Astro Duel 2. There's very little to look at for the game, but the best I can say is it's a free-for-all Galaga.
Oh boy.
So, but we did 1v1s in it, and it turned out to feel a lot more like a fighting game than it did like Galaga, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, because it's only the 2 people, and there's like buildings and stuff where there's power-ups that you can grab, and then you're a person, not in a ship. So there's a whole different.
There's more sci-fi aesthetic, but the core of the game was more fighting mechanics.
All in the same art style as Galaga. So it's really cool. And it was really fun to watch. I got to play it a little bit later on because we needed spots to fill for the tournament. And I made it to grand finals.
Nice. Yeah. First time picking it up?
Yeah, I touched it. The first 3 games got me to grand finals. So
nice.
I don't know. Maybe this player thing is for me. But yeah, casting that kind of stuff is more about finding the fundamentals of the game and then really harping on those. And when you have a lot of fighting games, that's the fundamentals. So like I could, I'm not sure how well I do with say baseball because baseball is not up my alley per se. I watched a lot growing up and I still watch it a bit. But when you have games, a lot of them have the same patterns for things. So you could say, if you're a baseball commentator, you know a little bit about tennis. You can kind of pick up that tennis.
The cadence, the rhythm.
Yeah, you can pick up the cadence, the rhythm, and what you want to look for in it. But it's not going to be your best work, right?
Sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into casting. And it's really just been a thing that I've been able to pick up. I'm not sure how good I am at it because you got people telling you like, you're great, you're doing great. And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't really like to listen to my own casting. It feels weird, especially when it's just me.
Yeah,
because it's
for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, you're filling so much space. You don't want dead air too much. There are certain situations where you want that. You want to just have the game be the game. But for the most part, you're trying to fill in you're trying to fill the majority of 5 seconds. Each 5 seconds, you want to have 3.5 seconds of that be talking or filling out the narrative, filling out the story of this matchup. And when you're doing that solo, that's really difficult. And when you get into it and you get used to it, then it's hard to let up and let the other person fill in and actually give you a breath or at least a sip of water. I'll go entire matches without even thinking about my glass of water that's inches from me because I have to laser onto the screen and just cast and let it rip for 30 minutes at a time. And then I finally realize I'm really thirsty. You get so in flow. You're like, oops, I'm really dehydrated all of a sudden.
That's funny. I think of the guy, what's his name? Scott Hansen, who does NFL Red Zone.
Oh, yeah.
He'll go, 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
No bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
He's like trained his body to do that. That's insane. Like, I can barely do 2.
Yeah, it's really impressive when you get so used to that rhythm, so used to that pattern, you start to get habits. So I built in where in between matchups for tournaments, I'll take a 5-minute media break. Right? I'll throw in Twitch ads and
there you go.
And say, all right, I'm taking a minute to go to the bathroom, walk around because I'm in the same classroom seat for 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
It could get really painful, but yeah, it's been fun so far. I'm not done with college just yet. I got another year. I'm going to be a 5th year senior. So I've got Got some time.
Right.
Yeah.
Where can people find your casting?
On twitch.tv/Nebraska Esports. I don't have any casting going on right now. My season is over for COD, and really there's only one season left, and that's Rocket League. Everyone else's season is kind of wrapped up or close to it. Close enough that it's just kind of in-house tournaments that kind of last throughout the offseason. But the Rocket League team, they're doing some crazy stuff right now. So we have the BEC, which is the Big Ten, essentially. It's all the Big Ten institutions all in the same thing. There's now the Collegiate Conference Series, which is another league that puts conferences, like all the athletic conferences, together to the best that they can. Because not all teams have esports teams.
Right.
But the Big Ten has about 16 out of 18 in this conference. So you have 8 and 8, so 2 groups. They're doing the good old divisions. And so we had a matchup today. Nebraska, UCLA were both undefeated in the same division. They had their matchup last night. Nebraska swept 3-0. And it was clean performance all the way through. So Nebraska leads that conference through and through. They're, I think, one of 2 remaining undefeated teams in that conference. The other one's in the other division. And Nebraska now has a pretty clear path throughout the rest of their division until we get to further in the season. I don't know the full construct of it, but
who's on the team? Who gets the shout outs for that?
Yeah, that is Promising RL, that is Creed, and Noe are the 3 players for that Rocket League team. And they have their story this season is so good because they struggled early on in the BEC. And about the halfway point, they really started to turn around. I don't know what they did, but they flipped a switch and they just started winning and winning and winning against all these teams that are marked way higher than they ever were. And they're just showing them up every single time. And if they are not winning, it's this close. It's the last possible second with a goal right on the line. It's right there. And these guys have turned it around and they just keep getting better each game. It's really fun to watch. And just seeing their growth this season, definitely the best story out of our club this entire season, just their growth and their ability to overcome whatever they were going through. It's really impressive.
You probably dabble in Rocket League, even if you don't play on the team. You've got to be a proud papa, though, right? As leadership of esports club to see that growth.
Yes, I mean, I don't personally dabble in Rocket League. That's not my speed. But seeing that growth and seeing that be how we're represented at a large national level is so good to see. Between the COD team getting top 25, between the Rocket League team just showing up all these top teams with players that are admittedly semi-pro and only are not in pro because there's too many pros at the top level. Like they're basically pro level players and they're on these college teams on scholarship. We don't have all the resources they have. We don't have a facility yet. Yes, that's coming. But
what's the update on that real quick?
We don't.
In the works?
I can't say anything.
Okay.
I don't know the full story. It's coming.
Okay.
I'm very
Stay
confident.
tuned.
Yeah, I'm very confident that's coming soon, especially like, way sooner than later. But I cannot say anything right now, and I don't know the full.
I don't want to get you in trouble. Sorry, continue your thought.
Yeah, but this Rocket League team definitely has really represented what we want this club to be and what we want these varsity teams to be, which is to overcome the odds, to overcome any adversity, and most importantly, to embody the amount of defensive prowess that I think all Nebraskans identify with across all sports.
Nice.
We really like to have the defensive strength of the black shirts. We want to have that black shirt identity in esports. I think that's massive. And it really helps us relate to the larger Nebraska community because of the identity of the black shirts and of most of our sports having really high priorities for defense, more so than a lot of other teams, especially in football right now, where it seems like everything is going to, has been for flashy offense and everything else. In esports, that's magnified heavily, where everything wants to be flashy. Everyone wants the hero play. Everyone wants the
top of the leaderboard.
Yes, top of the leaderboard, or all these crazy flashy mechanics that don't really add anything, but make it look really cool. But our boys have focused on being really fundamental and being really defensively focused. And I think that's something that I really love out of this team and out of our entire club, because they really strive for that.
Talk us through COD season. Your season.
Yeah.
I know it's back during football season. We said top 25. That's huge, man.
Yeah, so we cracked top 25 early on. We beat a team that we actually wouldn't beat the rest of the season in the qualifier to get into Division 1. So the way that the college COD works is you have a qualifier tournament at the beginning of the season, and after that, you're in Division 1 or Division 2. Both have 16 teams split across 4 regions, and we are in the hardest region by a long shot.
Who's with you?
So we have Illinois. Ohio State got moved over from Northeast to Midwest, and they were one of the top teams in the Northeast. So they got shifted over. And we also have Northwood, who's a perennial in FPS games for esports. You don't hear about him outside of that because I don't know. But there's them, St. Clair, which is college up in Canada. So Canadian teams are part of this league. And then there's a couple others that are escaping me right now. But the main 2 to focus on, Akron also got moved over from the Northeast region to the Midwest. And Akron has very rapidly become one of the best esports programs in the country. And so having all those in the same area, in the same part of our game, and us finally making that top division, that Division 1, it locks us for playoffs.
Nice.
Early in the season. So that qualifier, we won that qualifying match, and that guaranteed us playoffs.
Nice.
And then it was just, how do we play from there? And I admit it was really rough. That's kind of what you get, though. It's the same as promotion in soccer. When you get promoted, you're really used to the level of play that you were at before.
Yeah.
And I think it really messed with us in our identity as players, because we played off plays and we tried to switch to be really fundamental, where we were the disruptors before and we became the ones getting disrupted, because up at the top level, it's way faster. And we were playing for stuff a little slower. So we eventually got our speed up. And then we had to focus on fixing everything else. We were trying to figure out the maps. The game kept changing the maps on us and changing which maps, where people spawn on the map. And so it seemed like every week we had to start over at the chalkboard for one map or another. And one map that we'd be confident on one week would slip because of some change, and we'd have to pick up another one or try to rework it and save that map for us. So our map pool was really short. We ended up, I believe, in college COD, we ended up, I want to say, what was that? 15 games. I want to say 4-11, which not ideal. We didn't win against a lot of teams we should have won against. But it was just
you're having your confidence messed with, at that upper level. Even if you are just jumping up, you should have beat him. It's understandable, that transition.
Yeah, it was a really rough season, but we ended up doing pretty okay. We ended up placing top 48 in the country. Through regionals, we got top 12 in Midwest, which put us above where they seeded us.
Nice.
So we cracked into that, and we ended up really performing at the end of the season. We just kind of got an unfortunate end to it, but hey, we didn't have to play Iowa all year, and I was a little upset about it because that's one of my favorite rivalries, especially in esports. The Iowa-Nebraska rivalry in esports is peak. It's so
really
good. Yes. It's every game that we play them in, it's always back and forth. There's not a game where you can look at it and say they're dominant over them in this game, or there's none of that, because it's really just it's so close, because both teams recruit the same way. And by that I mean it's on-campus recruitment and very little else. There's no outside pull. It's, if you were to compare it to high school football, it's like Kearney and Grand Island, where you have what you have, and between the two, there's a lot of tension. But you're both in the same situation, so it's always back and forth.
Right.
And as soon as someone plays another team that we both dislike, we're like, oh, hey, good luck, because we also have that connection where it was, we have some fun banter and we could play games outside of it. That was another really good thing about that rivalry, is we got to know those guys and we got to hang out with them, because we played them 3 times in 1 year last year. It it was really fun, and we scrimmed them all the time. And so it was at the end of the season, especially, we knew each other. We knew each play for each map. And then this year, the way that the league fell, it ended up being a way higher entry fee, and they just couldn't do that. So it was really sad to not be able to play them. They were our regional rival for sure. And not having that, it kind of shifted how we thought about the season. And I think we were really wanting to play them again because they ended our season last year. And now our team is going to see a lot of new faces. This year we had a lot of we had all returning players. The entire starting roster returned. Now it's
what was their competition from the bottom up pushing them, and they still just made the teams they were better?
Well, there was no actual new entries as well.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was these boys, and we had a couple of guys, and some of my friends joined to fill up a second team. But there was no once you get into the season, it's a roster lock. There's no trading. There's no substitution. I was the only substitute because I was there at the beginning of the season. So sometimes if somebody can't make something, I would jump in and we would do fine. But there was not a lot of competition beforehand just because of the way that we do our recruiting. It's hard to get that competition early. So I have to rework that over the course of this summer. I'm going to try to rework that. I'm doing a little bit of broader recruiting. I'm talking to some guys from Kearney. I'm talking to some guys from Texas. I'm talking to some guys all over. We got a guy coming in from California next year. And these are guys that are not necessarily like, hey, come here, play for me. But they're guys that are reaching out saying, hey, we saw you guys and we want to come play. We're already coming to Nebraska anyway for college. Nice. And we want to play for you. So that's perfect for me because I don't want to be the guy that's, hey, I'll try to get you a scholarship, come out here and try out, play for us. And then if it doesn't go well, then it's like, well, why am I out here
1,500 miles from home?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
If you're from Sacramento and all of a sudden you're stuck in Lincoln, not doing what you came out to do, I hate doing that to anybody. And even if there is a second team and we play in some other league or the same league, it's not the same. And it's kind of a tone killer. I don't want to be that guy to anybody. And while it is kind of that, eventually it's going to reach that. If we ever get into the athletic department, that recruiting process is going to be way above me. But
how helpful is a guy like Amon in recruiting?
So he's really helpful in kind of locking it down and saying, hey, this is what we want this program to be. This is where I envision it to be. This is where, and I do this too. I think a lot of us do this. We have all of our ideas of where we want this to go. And the best one to say what it's going to be is going to be Amon. It's going to be Ryan Tan, who's the other coach.
Right.
Because they both share the vision of what this is going to be, and they are guaranteed to be here for it. As much as I want to say that I want to be here or that I will be here for longer than my graduation, that's not guaranteed. I can't say that I'll be here the full time for however long. I can only say I can be here another year, at best. And if I get into grad school, maybe a couple more years. But I can't be that guy to say this is where I envision this club to go, and this is how I'm going to get it there. I'm one person in a pretty high position that can say, this is what I'm going to do to help it get to where they want it to be, because we share the same vision. We want the varsity teams to get into the athletic department, and that's where things will skyrocket. Because it's really true what the football players and football team, everybody says those resources are the best in the country. And no esports team is getting that kind of experience, that kind of support. And if any of those guys were able to get that, it's a game changer entirely. And it takes us from where we are, which is admittedly pretty moderate. We're above average in most games. And it takes that and really just gives it every bit of foundation that it could ever need.
It raises both the floor and the ceiling.
Yes, it raises the floor, which it just exponentially raises the ceiling on what any player could be. And my hope for the club is to be a developmental program, because there's no development right now in esports. There's hardly any. It's all about getting the right talent. It's the transfer portal, but without any NCAA jurisdiction whatsoever. Not that it has any right now, admittedly, but there's no rules. It's all semi-pro players that say at the end of every year, I'm looking for a school to go to, and you get guys that reach out to you and they're like, how much are you offering for scholarships? It's really a game of scholarships when you get into recruiting with a lot of the semi-pro players that know their skill level and know where they're at. And the other problem with esports development right now is it's really self-driven. It's all, I mean, it is all in game. You have to be in the game to do it, but there's stuff you can do outside of the game. And that's what we're working on figuring out. Ryan Tan's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. He's a grand researcher, and he's doing everything he can to further make this stuff a reality, to make what we had in the 90s with the boom in training and the training table and everything else, doing that for esports and getting that where we want it to be.
In season, I mean, you're focused on your season, right? You're cleaning up mechanics and little things. Off season seems like it'd be the place for like camps almost.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't heard much of like esports skills camps because it's so much, like you're saying, driven individually, and however much time you have to put into the game, you kind of have to teach yourself. You can watch a YouTube video or a streamer or someone maybe, but you're not going to learn unless you actually have someone, like, oh, your thumb needs to move this way, not that way, or here's an exercise to do that, or are camps like on the horizon maybe for esports?
We're actually going to be hosting some camps.
No way.
One of them is going to be, I think this year's is going to be a FPS focused one, and I'm going to help out with that. So what we're going to go over in that camp, or at least what I want to go over, is going to be tactics. It's going to be a lot of the strategy,
big picture mental,
but I am going to give key information on things like mechanics and where recoil patterns are, how to find out recoil patterns,
find a wall and shoot.
Yes, find a wall, shoot, and then memorize that pattern and just slightly move the mouse in the opposite direction. Yeah, right. In the opposite directions to make sure, hey, it's laser focus. And just small tidbits that I've picked up over the last couple of years, because I started out as a pub stopper in Call of Duty, where I was just running in hardcore domination, running around, just having a good old time getting my camos. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so then I made the transition over to competitive during the Vanguard season. And since then, I've grown a lot. I still have a lot left to learn, but being able to take what I've learned in the past couple of years and be able to give it to kids that maybe can do more with it before they get to the collegiate level is my ultimate goal with this, with the camp. As much as I help out with it, at least, I'm going to give them what I've learned and hopefully set them in at a higher path than where I was. So then if they ever come here, or when they come here, they will be at a higher starting point than we are now, and be able to take this club, and if it's a varsity team with the athletic department, higher.
There's a very fine line between taking ownership of it, like you're doing right now, saying, hey, I'm only here for so long, recognizing that constraint, that boundary, and being selfish about it, trying to take it over. Oh, I'm in a leadership position. It has to be my way or the highway. There's a fine line there just because of just how naturally transient college programs are. Sure, if you're in a pro organization, you can stay there until you retire. But in college, you have a finite amount of time. So that's where I want to credit you and the rest of your leadership team, it sounds like, for taking ownership of the moment you're in, but also thinking outside yourself, not just trying to make it about you, but for the next generation of you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because that's been one of the main things that we're focusing on right now. Is this group has been around, where Z, Sam, who's been on this show before, we're all in our last 6 months to a year. And we all kind of realize there's got to be people to fill in our spot. There's got to be things that we want done to set up them for more progress down the road. So that's what we're focusing on right now, is how can we streamline this? How can we make this easier for people to get into, and then carry the torch and go further than we ever could? So that's a lot of our goals on the leadership side, because we all know the time's limited. And in esports, that time is, especially right now where esports is, where it collegiately, it's on the rise. If we can better set it up for this school to say, hey, this is a great opportunity, why shouldn't we do that? Why shouldn't we set up for the next group of kids that come in that are going to be coming out of high school, which is such a huge thing in Nebraska all of a sudden. It's awesome to see that it's just exploded in the last few years. There's so much interest from high schoolers across the state. I get messages that are, "Hey, I didn't know you guys had a esports club. Can I join? How do I join? What's the recruitment process?" And I take them through the whole thing, and I say, if they're a junior in high school, for example, and there's plenty of those right now that are just begging for interest from a collegiate esports group, and they say, "Well, I play this game and I want to play it competitively. Can I do that through the club?" I go, "Yeah, of course you can. If it's a game that we don't currently support, that's fine. We'll help you, and we'll find a league. We'll help you do it. We'll help you get it all set up. And if it's something that already exists, say Rocket League, send us your film, send us where you're at. We'll give you feedback where we want you to be and kind of help you get there, give you some tips as much as we can. And, keep in contact. We'll keep in contact. That's something I've been really wanting to do, not even wanting to do, but really happy to do, is keep in contact with the recruits and make sure that they're still interested, make sure that they know we care. Because at the end of the day, this is an entire demographic of kids that very, very frequently does not have that team dynamic and does not have the opportunities that a lot of other kids do. And so the whole recruiting process is very new to this group of kids. And it's really, to me, it's important to set a standard of showing that we care about them as a person, showing that we care about their growth. And that's something that we as a club want to do, is not only develop them as a player, but the same as football, where we want to develop them as a person, help them be better, understand people better, and to communicate better. That's the main thing you get out of esports, is communication.
Sure. Let's go ahead and take a break right here. Back with more Big Red Esports on the other side.
You're listening to Big Red Esports on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, I'm Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised in Lancaster County, learning the value of hard work and grit at a young age. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. I know that families and businesses in our community need lower taxes, lower cost of healthcare, and a great education. That's why, as your senator, I helped pass the largest tax cut and made the most significant investment in education in Nebraska history, and worked to reduce the cost of healthcare. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on May 14th. Paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers. RC's Boxing Production is proud to present the new prospects at the Complex. Come enjoy a show of Lincoln's best professional and amateur boxers on Saturday, May 25th at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Doors open at 6 p.m. with first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the boxers and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com. You won't want to miss this event. It's the new prospects at the Complex on Saturday, May 25th at 1555 Yolanda Avenue, right off of Cornhusker Highway.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska, or online in your own home. Learn to ride a motorcycle, how to start a small business, how to dance, or take a course to advance in your current career path. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to Oak Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Highball Bar in downtown Lincoln is open and located just north of 11th and O Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Tito's on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
There are over 1,000 kids in Cedars care today. We're here to ensure that each of them receives safety and stability they deserve. But we need your help. A gift to Cedars will make an immediate impact on Lincoln's kids. And on Give to Lincoln Day, your gift goes even further with the available matching funds. I'm Jim Blue, president of the Cedars organization, and I'm asking you to go to givetolincolnday.com to make your gift to Cedars and support Lincoln kids today.
This is Big Red ESports on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we are back. I'm Jaden with Nebraska ESports. There are multiple titles. I'm not going to go into all of it again. I did that earlier. But as far as Nebraska ESports, there's a lot of minor updates to go around. We're nearing the end of the semester. A lot of finals going on, so a lot of seasons are over. Thankfully, not a lot of people having to balance everything. New leadership has been picked. A lot of the same people. So Z, who's been on here multiple times, many times, I should say, is back as president once again. A lot of the same leadership, but we do have a new vice president in Brody, who leads the Rocket League team. So that's always a good sign. Is he's such a good leader, and we wanted him in the vice president role, so he actually got it, and very happy about that because he's a really good guy. He's also a sophomore, so he's got a lot of time left, which is going to be awesome. I love talking to him. He's really knowledgeable in esports, and it's a really fun time. Besides that, a lot of seasons are over, so League of Legends ended out doing, I think they got third in their division, and then Smash had their BEC thing a couple weeks ago. I'm sure Amon's said some updates about that, but they ended up getting to the bracket and then unfortunately losing to Michigan in the first round of that bracket, which was unfortunate. And we didn't have the ability to send any of our other teams, so that was kind of it for us in that tournament. But next year for the BEC, we add Oregon and Washington because they're joining the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So, and they both have really good programs too for esports. So that's really exciting to see that crew enter. And it was kind of unfortunate because we announced the conference right as Oregon and Washington joined the Big Ten. So those clubs were like, hey, why can't we join?
Right.
why can't we be in here? The league's not started yet, but we went the season with the 16, and now we're going to add the next two. I think they're going to add some games because it was only 4 for the first season. It was Smash, Valorant, Rocket League, and Overwatch, which all really popular esports games. Smash being maybe the one that's a little bit on the less side. It's a little bit more niche. I feel like it's
since it's been around
as an esport.
Okay,
I feel like it's a little bit more niche.
Interesting.
Because of how you can't play it online.
Oh, true.
Well, you can, but it's
But
Nintendo Online.
Yeah.
Like they made it work, and it worked out pretty okay actually. But I was surprised to see that one over some other popular titles. But it ended up working out really well for them. And now we're going to enter into the second season next fall or in the fall. And I guess I'll keep you guys updated on what games get talked about. I know there's been rumblings of League of Legends and Call of Duty.
I assume you want to see that.
I really want to see that. Yeah, I really want to play Oregon, Washington. I want to play all the schools. We've not played every single Big Ten school yet. There are some that don't have teams altogether, but
who are the holdouts?
The holdouts are Northwestern,
Boo.
Minnesota,
Boo.
and I think Washington doesn't have a team. They have a club, but they haven't formed an official team yet for Call of Duty.
Are they working on it?
It seems like it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's something they're working on. So it happened right about the start of the season. So it was too late to join any of the leagues that started.
Sure.
But I actually saw it form live. I was like, whoa, this is happening like right before my eyes. The whole club is starting. So I'm in that Discord and I chat with them. They're really cool people. But yeah, so it's those two for sure. And then I think Maryland has a team. There's one more I can't remember that doesn't have a team.
That's right. Not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But
I know there's an odd number that don't, because it ends up being an uneven number that would be in the league if it was the BC Call of Duty. So it makes it a little unfortunate for any sort of, round robin throughout the season, because there's going to be a bye week. But that's also kind of a blessing, because these teams are not only going to be playing in this league. That's the thing with esports, is you're not just playing in one league most of the time.
Gotcha.
So Call of Duty had 3 leagues they were playing in at one point this year. Our second team was in NACE. And then our first team was in CXP and in CCL. So they had 3 games. 3 games a week. And if there were reschedules between weeks, you could get up to 4 to 5. And then on top of that, there's there's tournaments throughout the season for the CXP. And those are on the weekend. And so those gave season points because of placement in those tournaments. So you had matches on the weekend that could sometimes be 5 or 6 matches on top of your already 3 to 4 during the week.
That's a grind.
It was a grind, a little bit of pain, and honestly, it was worth it. It gave us a lot more reps, but it also really limited our amount of practice time we could do, which I think was also kind of a detriment, because it was a lot of, we're playing to win and we're not playing to learn the maps.
Right.
So we were constantly in this, we need to win this because we need the points. We need to win because of, this, that. We lost this game because of no practice, but we can't practice because there's homework and everything else. We have to be students at the same time as all this. And a lot of it, some of us work. And I was in pep band as well. So I had pep band, work, class, and Call of Duty all to manage every day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot, but at the end of the season, when we got top 48, which was an improvement, we got top 64 last year. So minor improvements. We're working our way up. When we got there, it felt satisfying, but it was also kind of that moment where it's over with that crew, and where that crew had been together without any changes for 2 years. That's one of those that you feel that before it ends, and you feel when it kind of ends before it even happens.
Yeah.
And those are the hard moments to really get through. But when we kind of sat back and looked at it, we did say this was a pretty good run out of us. Even if it was really rough with the match turnouts earlier in the season, we couldn't have asked for a better run through the tournament with who was left by the time we got to where we were.
A little bittersweet, maybe?
Yeah, it was bittersweet.
Do you like the fact that it's easy to reschedule if something pops up, or would it be nice if it would be just kind of more like traditional sports where if we have a time at the end of the season, great. If not, we're just going to have to cancel.
I like the rescheduling. The problem is how much it happens.
Oh,
there are so many problems with esports kids in college with no time management. None whatsoever. We're really good about it. We know when the games are. We're going to be free for that. But 30 minutes before a match, if I get a DM that says, "Hey, can we reschedule for next week?"
30 minutes before?
Yeah, it's happened where these teams will say, "My guy has a lab on this day." It's like, that at the beginning of the semester.
Right.
Like, you don't have to get this guy and reschedule every single match. That's what they were doing. The league hated him because he kept rescheduling every single match right before they happened. Yeah, it was just really one of those. It's one of those things where I'm glad it exists, but the amount of no-shows or the amount of last-minute reschedules is a real problem, and that's going to be something that if we ever want to get into a higher amount of professionality in collegiate esports, we're going to have to fix that.
How do you fix it? What would you do?
I would say we need to make more. We need to punish it more. We need to really punish it more because it needs to be, well, NACE does already. If you no-show or if you give too late of a notice and the other team can't make that work, you're DQ'd for the rest of the season.
Rest of the season?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
You're done for the rest of the season if you miss one. And
not 2, not 3, just 1.
Yeah, just 1, you're out. It doesn't matter because you need to have that kind of time management for everything else. Why can't you do this for one thing, for one match that takes an hour?
Right.
It's one of those things that it also was a problem in the BEC where some teams would just not show up altogether, no notice. And that's what really gets annoying about it. But when you look at football as a comparison, the last, I think it was a no-show happened in the 90s. From what I remember, I can't source it because it's a tweet that's long buried by now. But there was this guy that was talking about how he's okay with where esports is right now because college football still had the problem of time management and stuff up through the 90s. It didn't really get into the rigidness that it is now it was really rigid then. I think it was just probably a small team that just was like, oh no, we can't make it. Right. Against some, I don't know. I don't know the full story. I can't go into it. But needless to say, esports is very much in the leather cap stage of comparison to football. It's very early. It's within the first couple decades.
Sure.
And so there's a lot more structure than there was, but
not as much as there needs to be.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
Let's take our final break of the show. I have about 5 minutes or so to wrap things up when we get back.
You're listening to Big Red Esports on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives. The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Saturday, May 4th versus the Columbus Fury at Nationwide Arena in Columbus. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
Coleman Construction is a high-end custom home builder serving the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County, Seward County, and beyond. Through their decades of design-build expertise, they are available for detailed planning and custom building, additions, and remodels for your dream home. Coleman Construction listens to your ideas and works with you to develop a floor plan, budget, and project management approach. Contact Coleman Construction at 402-643-5654 to discuss your vision for a beautiful home and let them bring it to life.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations. Guess what?
What?
There's 5 Lincoln locations now. Oh my gosh. That's 25% more Lincoln locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside 93.7 The Ticket Studios, 1040 O Street.
In a world where businesses are facing daily cyber threats, you need protection like never before. Don't let hackers and malware companies compromise your business success. Stay ahead of data breaches with Hamilton Cybersecurity. Let Hamilton provide you with peace of mind that your business is protected. Our experts identify and mitigate risks before they become disasters. As your trusted partner, we help you protect your valuable information. Hire your local cybersecurity experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Women may be complicated, but I make sure buying jewelry isn't. Your gal has a style, and you can figure this out. Is she more of a classic necklace kind of gal, or does she rock the boho chic vibe with layers of delicate bracelets? This is crucial intel. Not trusting your intel? Stop in the store and we'll sort out the details. I promise to make this super easy. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
This is Big Red ESports on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One last segment, Austin and Jaden with you here for another 5 minutes or so. Jaden, I know you're getting up to finals week. It's coming. I was not involved in esports, but I play video games. I'm a COD guy, a Fortnite guy back, play my fair share of Madden here and there. But that's how I relax. It's how I get away from schoolwork and finals. For you, other members on the team, are you still able to relax and play video games as a distraction or a reward during finals week? Or is it all, no, I'm sitting down. I got to be focused. This is my thing. I got to get my fix.
So for me personally, I can't play Call of Duty hubs anymore. I do, but I can't take it relaxingly. I'm doing a camo challenge. I'm doing something and I want it done.
Sure.
But Helldivers or any other game that, say Destiny 2, for example, that's kind of my switch. Is I use those games to relax. I can be competitive in those games, and I usually am, but in a way that is meant for an unwind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are definitely some players on the team across the club that cannot do that. And it's really funny because I'll be playing games with some of them. And right now it's a little busier, so not as often.
Right.
But yeah, it's so funny. There'll be some moments in there that, maybe Amon would say, hey, let's calm down a little bit. Let's take a second, step away from the desk, and then we just load up into another one because we're not ending on a loss. But yeah, it's really funny. Some of them don't have that switch, and it's constant competition through and through. And I mean, those are some of the hungriest people out there in terms of competition, and they're always practicing. They're always doing this. But yeah, I think a lot of us do have like Minecraft or, some unwind game that's no sort of competition involved whatsoever to just decompress.
I'm not going to ask for names of who those people are, but what games typically get people to stay competitive the longest and not be able to shut that switch off?
I would say Call of Duty.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, Call of Duty is one of them. I think League, they reignited their Friday night fives because they don't want to stop playing. Call of Duty, we've been digging around the internet for tournaments to play in because we don't want to stop competing.
Nice.
And I think for us now, that's the fun, is being that competitive. Being in that flow is really rewarding from a dopamine side, where you're with friends, you're having a fun time, and you find some random league to play in where you're not taking it ultra seriously anymore, especially because with graduating players, they're not necessarily representing the team anymore.
Sure.
So it's a lot more lax, but it's in a way that I still really want to win. I'm not going to just, relax and throw this away, But I think Call of Duty is probably one of the ones that is still ultra competitive and hard to get out of. Just because we built that, and we really built that into each other, where we're not going to let the other guy down, even if it's a lower situation. It can go from the most random out of pocket joke, 2 seconds later, zoned in, silent, except for comms. It's the craziest switch that they flip, but it's the funniest stuff to see.
And those are the great ones. They can flip that switch.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways that, when the lights come on, they're locked in.
Oh yeah.
They're the same person, but they're a different person. I love seeing those people just, now I'm new.
Yeah. And being able to record VOD and get the comms on recording. There's a lot of those moments where there'll be some joke right before spawn in, and it'll break the entire lobby. It'll break down. We'll all be laughing. That clock hits 0, silent, immediate. It is immediate, just comms of where we're going, what we're doing, who's looking where, that kind of stuff. That's the fundamentals. And yeah, it's the funnest way to play the game, in my opinion.
That's awesome. What's on tap for you for finals week? You coasting to the end? You plowing through to the end?
So uncharacteristically for esports, I'm a history major.
Nice.
So all my papers are due this week.
Okay.
So I had about 4 papers this week to do.
Do you have like a specialty in history? What are you studying?
I'm a general history major.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a general
What's your
history.
favorite then?
My favorite is medieval.
Okay.
Runner up is probably World War I, World War II.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a stereotypical answer, but medieval and Roman are really high on my board.
Okay.
So those are what I like to study and look at, because there's just so much going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are your papers about?
So my papers right now, one of them, I'm in an ancient Israel class. So I just finished that paper yesterday. And then I had a paper for, a sports media class with Brian Petrata. And so I had to do that. And then we had a reflection paper also, because there was a guest speaker this week. And so I had that paper. That wasn't a final paper per se, but it was another one. And then I had a paper for one of my other, one of my courses for Alan Eno. I had a paper to write for that. So there were 4 papers, not a whole lot of demand. The only one that was really demanding was the ancient Israel one, but that's right up my alley. So that was something that, I find the info, or I know the info, and I can just rattle it off.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm coasting after this week though. I have some wrap up stuff for Russian, and then
Russian. Russian. Okay.
So, yeah, history requires 2 years of foreign language.
Yeah.
So I thought, German's kind of stereotypical. Spanish is kind of stereotypical. I'll go Russian.
French.
I chose the wrong language, man. I'm telling you, 2 years.
It's not even the same alphabet.
No, I chose the wrong stuff. The first day, this guy does not go over the syllabus. He says, all right, here's the alphabet. Let's learn it.
Oh, boy.
First 5 seconds, I go, oh, no. 2 years. I finally wrap up here in a couple weeks. So
nice.
Finally get to focus a little bit more on my major and esports, because Russian's been a huge thing in the background for me. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, finally done. After Monday, I should be coasting through dead week and finals week.
Nice. Hey, welcome to the new studio, man.
Yeah,
Glad you made it down.
It's so great. Thanks for the conversation. Those were great questions.
Of course. Hey, Jaden, it's been a pleasure. We'll throw it to break, probably to national, but hey, later tonight, Omaha Supernovas coming up. They're on the road in Columbus. DP and Nick on the road. Coach Renee Saunders. For Jaden, I'm Austin. It's been fun. Talk to you next time.
Supernovas.